Skylar Diggins reportedly attacked Caitlin Clark during a WNBA game, and then Shannon Sharpe revealed the issue on national television. This topic has been trending on social media, and we're here to break down every aspect for you. Make sure you stay around because we've got all the background, responses, and aftermath you need. Let's get to it.
A little bit of everything in this one, but the bottom line is Seattle wins, and they go to 2-3, and Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever gave it a great effort, but they fall 2 points short, and they are now 0-5 on the season. My goodness.
To truly comprehend what transpired between Skylar Diggins and Caitlin Clark, we must backtrack a little. Caitlin Clark has been among the most talked about players in the WNBA this season. Leading her squad, the Indiana Fever, she is not only building a reputation for herself, but also ruffling some feathers along the road.
I think just reflecting back over my 4 years is I'm very grateful, starting and playing in front of absolutely no one during COVID, and then obviously my sophomore year we had good crowds, the curtains were down a lot of the games, and now it's impossible to get a ticket to get in the door to our games. So, yeah. I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you. So seriously, I mean that, and I thank you. And this is special. I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it. You're helping us change it. So seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
Her ferocious competition, paired with her ability to excite the fans, has earned her a polarizing reputation on the court.
Yeah, I think for me, anytime you go up against somebody that's super competitive and, has that same drive and will to win, that's what you love. That's what competitors love. These type of games is what makes our game so great. It's what people want to turn on the TV and watch. I expect the viewership numbers to be through the roof for this. Yeah, I can definitely relate to the pressure that she probably feels on the weight of her shoulders, and that's a lot to deal with somebody that's 22 years old and has that many eyeballs on her, and being able to manage that. And I know she probably has a lot of people around her that help her, and that's definitely something unique.
During a recent game against the Seattle Storm, emotions were already high. The Indiana Fever, captained by Caitlin Clark, dominated the Storm. The game finished in a blowout, with the Fever claiming a dominating win. However, the drama did not finish with the final buzzer.
Tisha Penichero's record for most assists in a season by a rookie. Here's Clark speeding all the way in to the cup. Boston gets into the arms of Clark. Clark, the crossover, the throw.
After the victory, while Caitlin Clark was celebrating with her teammates, Skylar Diggins, a seasoned league veteran and Seattle Storm player, approached Caitlin. Skylar apparently bumped into Caitlin in an unexpected manner, which many are calling an assault. This wasn't a casual brush, it was a planned deed that shocked the WNBA community. Let's be clear, Caitlin Clark is recognized for her passionate style of play and her excitement for energizing the audience. She wasn't trying to be nasty, she was just enjoying a hard-fought triumph. However, Skylar Diggins seems to have interpreted this incorrectly. The event was caught on film and rapidly went viral, igniting a heated discussion on social media.
That will officially do it. Indiana gets its first win of the season against Seattle. 92-75 the final. As Christy Sides and Noel Quinn exchange a long hug.
Shannon Sharpe, a former NFL great and now a well-known sports broadcaster, became aware of the occurrence. He was candid on his program. Shannon went off on Skylar Diggins, criticizing her behavior and supporting Caitlin Clark. According to Shannon, Skylar's actions were extremely inappropriate and showed a lack of sportsmanship. Shannon's response was a combination of amazement and fury. He couldn't understand why a seasoned player like Skylar Diggins would engage in such behavior, particularly against a rising star like Caitlin Clark. Shannon emphasized that Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's future face, and acts like this are damaging to the league's reputation. When Shannon Sharpe's words aired, the social internet erupted. Fans and experts alike commented on the scenario. Some backed Skylar Diggins, claiming that Caitlin Clark's actions were provocative and that she had it coming. Others agreed with Shannon Sharpe, saying that Skylar's behaviors were inappropriate and unprofessional.
In regards to Clark starting with WNBA legend
more exposure. Rivalries like this one benefit the league because they produce narratives that fans can connect with. However, when things get violent or personal, it may result in unwanted press, which the WNBA does not need right now. This event has triggered a bigger discussion regarding the condition of the WNBA and its players' conduct. Some feel that the league must tough down on unsportsmanlike behavior in order to retain its credibility. Others argue that such situations are just part of the game and contribute to the value of entertainment. There is also the question of how the media depicts female athletes. Shannon Sharpe's words, although supportive of Caitlin Clark, also exposed athletics' double standards. Male athletes are often praised for their passion and competitiveness, but female athletes who exhibit the same characteristics are criticized or labeled as too emotional.
And 10 or more assists. They pulled their starters, and then Skylar Diggins, Fake Smith, her last name, she bumped into her, sped up. Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of my gym. Let her cook. I want to know what y'all saying now, because she is legit. She's better, she's better than I thought she would soon.
The WNBA has been battling against the double standard for years. The league wants its players to be seen as strong, talented athletes, but it also wants to avoid the bad stereotypes that sometimes accompany that. It's a difficult balance, and events like the one involving Skylar Diggins and Caitlin Clark further confuse matters. As the WNBA season progresses, all eyes will be on Caitlin Clark and Skylar Diggins. Will their rivalry increase more, or will they find a way to move on from this incident? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain, fans will be watching attentively. Caitlin Clark has already shown that she is a force to be reckoned with, and this event simply adds to her mystique. Meanwhile, Skylar Diggins must determine how she will handle the matter in the future. Will she apologize and make apologies, or will she continue to play the villain?
I thought she would be good. You and I both said she's going to be good because she got two skill sets. She can score the basketball and she can assist the basketball. So if one is not going, the other one will. But a lot of people say, oh, this and that. Let her cook. Y'all stop being petty. Stop being catty, because she like a double-edged sword. She cutting tail left and right, and it's bothering y'all, and I see it. Let's go, Caitlin. Hey, do me a favor, CC. Send your favorite uncle a jersey with your autograph on it, and I'll wear it.
Shannon Sharpe's words also had a big influence. His comments are important since he is a recognized person in the sports world. By naming Skylar Diggins, he has drawn even more attention to the problem and pushed the WNBA to confront it. Some may argue that Shannon Sharpe was only doing his job as a pundit, but there is no disputing that his remarks have poured gasoline on the flames. He's made it apparent that he's on Caitlin Clark's side, which may impact how the public sees the matter going forward. Fans' reactions have been divided. Caitlin Clark has a large following, and many of her followers have been vociferous in their defense. They regard her as the future of the WNBA and think other players are unjustly attacking her.
Let her cook. But if I'm Caitlin Clark, I'd have told Skylar Diggins, get your coat, your brim, and get on out of my gym.
Skylar Diggins also has admirers, and they have been vociferous in their support. They contend that Caitlin Clark's among its players. At the same time, they must be cautious not to crush the competitive spirit that makes the game so enjoyable to watch. So where are we going from here? The incident between Caitlin Clark and Skylar Diggins is far from done, and we can expect more drama as the season progresses. But one thing is certain, this rivalry has captivated the attention of fans and experts alike, and it isn't going away anytime soon. As usual, we'd like to hear your comments on the matter. Do you believe Skylar Diggins was out of line, or do you think Caitlin Clark should tone down her on-court antics? Let us know in the comments section.
A miss. Clark from the logo.
The present circumstances between Caitlin Clark and the WNBA expose a major turning point in women's basketball, not just a sporting story. Historically, the WNBA has battled to earn the same degree of respect and attention as other big leagues. However, the ascent of youthful basketball prodigy Caitlin Clark points to a possible change that may define the league's future.
Clark and the Fever have been the hottest draw in the league. Indiana's games have averaged nearly 16,000 fans, more than double the attendance for games not involving the Fever.
Clark's arrival in the WNBA reminds one of transforming leaders in other sports. Her marketability and skill help her to be the sort of player able to influence public opinion. For a league often eclipsed and underappreciated, this change is essential. Clark has the potential to become a comparable symbol for the WNBA, much as Michael Jordan's arrival into the NBA signaled a fresh period of popularity and financial success.
I think we were just resilient. You know, when they punched us in the mouth, we always found a way to answer. I think people stepped up when their number was called and they were put into the game.
On and off the court, Clark's path is difficult, however. She has already seen major hardships in her short professional career.
Now, I believe to Angel Reese. Yep, across the head, and they will go to the monitor to review this one.
Including harsh fouls from opponents and aggressive moves. These conflicts point to a degree of jealousy and resentment above what is expected of a normal competitive drive. Kennedy Carter and other players have freely shown contempt for Clark, underscoring the personal aspect of these contests.
And, you know, it's just basketball at the end of the day. You know, there's no grudges. There's nothing like that. It's a sport. It's competitive. It's not going to be nice all the time. That's not what basketball is. And I think people that play that at the highest level understand that.
Notwithstanding these challenges, Clark's approach has been admirable. She lets her performance speak for itself rather than starting verbal arguments or grievances.
What about Clark? Another step-back triple, already at double digits in.
Her professionalism and resilience are shown by her capacity to keep concentration and perform well under duress. This mindset not only improves her standing, but also establishes a benchmark for athletes' management of hardship.
Anyone surprised? That's what they come to see. I mean, Jazz Shelley.
Unquestionably, Clark has affected the court. Even in her freshman season, her numbers and accomplishments have distinguished her from many of her contemporaries.
Clark gets freed up. Confidence.
From scoring to assists, she shines in many facets of the game and has a well-rounded skill set that makes her a powerful player.
She's had more 30-plus point games than anybody in the last 25 years in men's and women's basketball.
This all-around skill emphasizes why she is seen as a WNBA game changer.
I'm just happy we won. It was cool to play against her, and obviously a really great game. And like you said, this crowd was absolutely incredible. Awesome, Caitlin. Congratulations. Thanks.
The criticism and jealousy aimed toward Clark are not recent occurrences.
Yeah, I mean, this is a foul for sure on the dribble.
Athletes who push the envelope and challenge the status quo usually exhibit this pattern of polarization. For Clark, this is exacerbated by the extra pressure and expectations put on women in athletics, where their accomplishments are often discounted or questioned.
Pretty fiery, pretty competitive, but I would say like pretty smooth. I just try to.
Additionally, reflecting the larger dynamics in women's basketball is the hatred from certain quarters. Rising stars may eclipse established players and veterans, which would lead to remarks undermining her achievements. This conflict between the old guard and the young underlines the difficulties of generational changes in sports, where the rise of a new star can be both exhilarating and worrisome.
Rebound, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and Dana Evans.
Clark's impact beyond the courtroom. Her presence has shown her influence on the league's commercial attractiveness by driving a spike in WNBA ticket sales and viewing. The WNBA, which has long aimed to increase its fan base and improve its marketability, depends critically on this surge.
She does it time and time again, the 40-piece, and walks off with the W.
The league's league's expansion would benefit much from Clark's capacity to attract audiences and create buzz.
If Clark knocks this down, she has officially surpassed Brittany Griner.
The milestones Clark has established so far in her career, including ranking as the all-time top scorer in NCAA history, indicate her extraordinary ability. These successes highlight her ability to reach excellence at the professional level, as well as her leadership skills in steering her squad to national recognition.
We love to see a good clapback, right? And no one does that better than Caitlin Clark. I mean, just a couple of days ago in her game against Louisville, she basically told Haley Van Lith, "You're down 15 points. Shut up."
Her ability to turn this accomplishment into WNBA titles will, however, ultimately be the real test of her legacy. To be among the best, Clark must win at the top level.
Last game when she was like, "You can't see me." That really got everyone fired up.
Comparisons from the past with icons like Michael Jordan show that, however outstanding, collegiate achievement is merely a stop on the road. The mark of an athlete's career and legacy is finally sustained greatness and championship successes.
And Bill Walton, Zeke, Michael Jordan has said it many times. He considers Madison Square Garden to be the mecca of basketball.
Clark remains a divisive person who generates both praise and condemnation as she pursues her career. For those athletes who challenge the limits of their sport, this dichotomy is a familiar sensation. Her great importance in the changing story of women's basketball is reflected in the great attention she pays to every action, both good and bad.
In the flagrant, do you feel like that?
The basketball play.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was the appropriate call, or?
The basketball play, I can't control the refs. They affected the game obviously a lot tonight. So
Clark clearly can change the WNBA, not just in terms of her performance, but also in the general influence she has on the league. She helps the sport reach fresh heights by garnering attention and enticing new players. Her impact is evident in more media attention for the WNBA and more business possibilities.
And this is Caitlin Clark introducing herself. She has been a leader for US team.
Hungary 22, Caitlin Clark.
One must recognize the historical background of Clark's arrival. From its founding, the WNBA has fought for respect and credibility in a sports scene controlled by men's leagues. The acquisition of a great talent like Clark may be the impetus the league needs to enter a new phase of acceptance and prosperity. One does not make light analogies to Michael Jordan. Jordan transformed the worldwide appeal of basketball in addition to his on-court successes, therefore influencing the game.
Being sick. Yeah, I think he's okay. He's got the bounce, he's got the skip, he's ready to put on the show here today.
With her special mix of talent and charm, Clark can offer women's basketball a like-minded change.
Without them being able to contest.
Dennis don't keep posting up, but you know who they go to. 22 from the outside.
Still, the path to such a transforming accomplishment is complex. Expectations weigh heavily, and close inspection defines Clark's path. Every game, every performance is examined, which increases the strain she has to negotiate. Her long-term effect on the league will rely much on her capacity to flourish under such conditions.
She's got 36. She lives for those moments, Gus. She wants to take the big shot, and she will make the big shot.
The encouragement Clark gets from her supporters is evidence of her rising impact. Driven mostly by Clark's presence, there is a growing interest in WNBA games in attendance and viewing. The survival and expansion of the league depend on this fan involvement.
Happy I got to see her today. Yeah. It was like a dream come true.
Clark's collegiate basketball success sets a great standard for her professional career. Her leadership at Iowa and record-breaking efforts have shown her capacity to rule at the toughest levels of competition.
I think the main things about Iowa that I liked is one, doing something special that's never been done before. I think that was super important to me, and two, I'm really close with my family, so I wanted to be close. I wanted to have.
Her road will next take her translating her achievement to the WNBA. The criticism and questioning Clark encounters reflect her reputation as a pioneer. Athletes who question accepted wisdom and push limits sometimes run against opposition. A major component of Clark's developing reputation is her elegance and tenacity in managing this strain.
But I mean, I don't know.
She's so humble, isn't she?
Well, I don't know what to say.
Let me tell
Like, I mean, it's great. I don't know.
Pretty cool, Caitlin.
Career will most certainly help to define the WNBA. Her achievements and the awareness she raises for the league will help the next generations of athletes get access. Clark is redefining women's basketball's possibilities by shattering stereotypes and establishing new benchmarks.
Shout out to the fans, though. They were unreal. They got us there to the fourth. Happy for our group.
One cannot overestimate the business success connected to Clark's league membership. A stronger and more financially stable WNBA results from increased ticket sales, better viewing ratings, and more media coverage. In this sense, Clark's marketability is very vital.
It was pretty surreal because we were watching TV, I think the game before, and she got really close to it. I think she was like a couple of rebounds away, and I didn't think that I would actually be at the first one. But here we are.
Furthermore, Clark's influence is felt in the larger cultural setting. She breaks preconceptions and encourages young girls to follow their sporting aspirations as very prominent and accomplished female athletes. Her impact shapes ideas and goals even outside of the basketball floor.
I'm 22 years old. I got a lot of pressure on myself to perform and help this organization and help women's basketball and women's sports, so I think she's been a great outlet for myself.
The rivalry Clark encounters is evidence of her competitive nature and the respect her peers demand of her. These fierce games provide the league drama and thrills, attracting viewers and crafting gripping narratives.
I think the people that have made it the most special, obviously my teammates, my coaches, but it isn't what it is without all of you, so seriously I mean that, and I thank you. And
one of Clark's strongest suits is her fortitude in the face of difficulty. Her performance mostly depends on her capacity to recover from demanding moves and stay focused on the game. She will find great benefit from this mental fortitude as she negotiates the demands of professional athletics. Clark's presence greatly supports the WNBA's pursuit of more respect and exposure. Her capacity to attract attention and create buzz about the league is really priceless. The league's expansion and acceptance depend on this higher awareness.
So I don't know if you guys realize what you're doing for women's basketball and women's sports in general, but you're changing it, you're helping us change it, so seriously, from the bottom of my heart, from all of us, we thank you so much.
Clark's path reflects the larger hardships and victories of female athletes. Her narrative emphasizes the difficulties women have in the sports scene trying to be recognized and respected. Overcoming these challenges, Clark motivates and sets an example for others.
Off of your defense, get out and run. There's so much opportunity in transition. Caitlin Clark needs no space. Cashes in. Come on, 22.
How the media presents Clark as a two-edged blade. More publicity exposes her more, but it also makes her a more visible target of attention. Negotiating this terrain calls for a careful mix of resilience and openness. A key component of Clark's success is her capacity to motivate her colleagues and set an example. Her team's performance and winning culture are much enhanced by her leadership both on and off the court. The difficulties Clark's rivals provide are evidence of her ability and fierce competitiveness. These rivalries inspire her to keep developing and modifying her game, therefore reaching new performance standards.
I want to personally thank Caitlin Clark for lifting up our sport.
A key determinant of Clark's career path is her capacity to manage the demands of success and celebrity. Maintaining her attention and desire depends on her being grounded and controlling expectations. Her path depends much on the encouragement Clark gets from her family, friends, and supporters. Her ongoing success is built on this network of support, which also helps her negotiate professional ups and downs.
Controversial foul in the WNBA game between Indiana and Chicago continues. You've seen it now a million times. Third quarter, Kennedy Carter shoulder checking Caitlin Clark
from her on-court performance to her marketability to her motivation. Clark has had a diverse influence on the WNBA. Her path captures the larger chances and difficulties women's basketball faces. Ultimately, amid a background of difficulties and opposition, Caitlin Clark's narrative is one of hope and possibility. Her path highlights the importance of ongoing support and respect for female players as it mirrors the larger challenges and successes of women's basketball. Clark represents the transforming potential of skill and will in shining the sports scene as she negotiates the demands and expectations of her developing career. For women's sports generally, as well as the WNBA, Clark's ascent offers optimism. A key first step in the continuous struggle for equality and acceptance in the sports world is her capacity to raise awareness and respect for the league.
It's just amazing. I mean, how she finds people in transition, she's just unbelievable.
Clark opens the path for the next generations of female athletes as she keeps shattering records and raising expectations. Her accomplishment reminds us of the need for tenacity, loyalty, and fortitude in reaching excellence. The story of Clark's ascent is complex and covers her extraordinary abilities, hardships, and influence on WNBA popularity. This intricate interaction of elements makes her narrative interesting and important, not just for women's basketball enthusiasts, but also for the sports scene overall. With Clark Clark's rise as a possible superstar, the WNBA marks a new chapter marked by more respect, exposure, and admiration of the league and its players. Her path is evidence of her ability, skill, and will to overcome challenges and reach brilliance. Women's basketball has benefited greatly and broadly from Caitlin Clark. Her path reminds us of the possibility sports have to inspire, challenge, and change. On and off the court, resilience, quality, and inspiration for the next generations will define Clark's legacy as she keeps leaving her imprint.
Clark trying to come back to it. Clark shakes Van Lith into the lane, gets fouled by Reese. And then Angel Reese takes a tumble afterwards.
Attracting the interest of basketball players all over, the WNBA game between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was unforgettable.
As Caitlin Clark is going to go to the line to shoot two, and oh no, oh my goodness.
Full of fast action and fierce rivalry, the game highlighted the incredible skills of these two upcoming stars.
Now we see Aaliyah Del Rosario come into the game for LSU. She played incredibly well in the Sweet 16.
Brings great size and strength on the...
It was abundantly evident from the start that this was not just any ordinary season game. Rather, this was a duel destined for the historical record.
I mean, the three-point contest can't wait for this year after what Sabrina Ionescu did last year. Then you got Team USA against Team All-Stars. Clark connects on her third three of the game.
Now a rookie with the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark set the tone early with her extraordinary shooting. Renowned for her scoring abilities practically anywhere on the floor, Clark needed more time to establish her presence, sizing the audience and laying the ground for what would be a game to remember.
Out of the starting lineup, put back in after the injury to Temi Thagbenle, has really found her footing over the last 4 or 5 games. Reese, the deep catch, and the finish on Smith.
Conversely, Angel Reese, representing the Chicago Sky, exhibited her usual physicality and intensity. Paint powerhouse Reese was unrelenting in her quest for rebounds and points.
And you can see Kim Mulkey saying, we got to stop turning the ball over, and that is not what anybody wants to see. Angel Reese going back, although it looks like
she's getting on
the bike. All right.
Her first game score came off a tough under-basket move that outmuscled her defenders and demonstrated why she is among the most aggressive players in the league.
Think from us this year, it's been a harder path because we all have felt the expectations as the defending champs, and obviously as a team that gets a whole lot of it.
Their undergraduate days, when they often found themselves in fierce arguments, Clark and Reese's history spans outstanding at Iowa.
Caitlin Clark is different from any other player we have ever seen.
For Angel Reese, it is her size, her speed, and her strength.
Clark was well known for her amazing range and playmaking skills. Dominant at LSU, Reese was famous for her aggressive physical approach and unrelenting rebounding.
Both have battled each other since the Big Ten, when Clark was at Iowa shooting logo threes, and Reese, a double-double machine, was at Maryland before transferring to LSU.
Their rivalry has only escalated since they joined the WNBA. Their college games were always packed with emotion.
Here comes Caitlin. She loves transition. From the corner.
Was worried about getting into foul trouble with their bigs. Keep throwing it inside.
Clark kept playing her all around as the game went on. She was not only scoring as needed, but also precisely passing her teammates.
It's Iowa!
En route to his second consecutive national title game.
A major component of the Fever's attacking approach was Clark's ability to locate open teammates and make wise under duress selections.
A teammate that's gonna make you believe in yourself. The leap that I took from my freshman to sophomore year, Angel gave me that confidence to go be a dog. Playing next to a dog every day.
Reese, meanwhile, was a force on the boards, catching rebound after rebound. For the Sky, her presence in the paint was rather important as it provided several chances for second chance.
To surpass expectations, already taking down one of the league's very best.
This is what Angel Reese does.
Now, Clark and Reese paths intertwine once more as they square off as pros for the first time.
Reese's strength and will were on display as she out-hustled 2 players to collect an offensive rebound and then scored with a forceful move.
Someone on her that doesn't exactly have that kind of size
just seemed a little criminal in my opinion because Caitlin ate every time, even over that extended arm of Angel Reese. Caitlin gets the shot off and then...
As both sides battled for dominance, the game's physicality changed. Despite many harsh strikes, Clark stayed cool and kept guiding her squad with great shots and clever moves.
Clark and the Fever started 0-5 on the season, but there's no doubt this young squad is starting to find its stride.
Caitlin Clark celebrates her first win in the WNBA.
Battling in the paint, Reese made things tough for the Fever's defense by using her size and power.
The highest since 2015, and that's as far back as our records go, as round 3 between Indiana and Chicago is underway.
Camila Cardoso's introduction was among the game's best moments to see going forward.
I mean, the three-point contest can't wait for this year after what Sabrina Ionescu did last year. Then you got Team USA against Team All-Stars. Clark connects on her third three of the game.
The contest turned into a nitty-gritty in the fourth quarter. Both teams swapped baskets, and many times the lead passed hand. On fire, Clark made vital passes and scored 3-pointers. Reese kept the sky close by continuing to rule on the boards, turning offensive rebounds into points.
Into Boston, Clark gets knocked down, no call. Here comes Mitchell, dancing through the lane, scoops it in. Kelsey Mitchell's downhill attack.
With about 2 minutes remaining, the Fever were clinging to a slim advantage. To widen the margin, Clark struck a clutch jumper. The Sky swiftly answered with a 3-pointer from Kennedy Carter. As the game neared its last minutes, there was obvious suspense throughout the stadium.
Boston, who also has a 15-5-5 game today. Here's Clark, catch, fire, and connect.
In the last seconds, Clark performed a calculated action, snagging a rebound and deftly running out the clock to ensure the Fever's triumph. Her outstanding basketball IQ and under-pressure calmness confirmed her rank among the league's best players.
3-second difference, game and shot clock. Here is Mabry, dumping it in. Cardoso the catch and the finish. Here's Cardoso.
This game was evidence of women's basketball's rising popularity rather than just a display of personal ability. By means of their competition and performances, Clark and Reese are enhancing the game and raising awareness of the WNBA. Their efforts on the court inspire the next players and supporters. The game between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was a master lesson in basketball brilliance. Every time they compete, it reminds us of the talent, tenacity, and passion driving the sport. With its intensity and high stakes, this game will be recognized as one of the defining events in their careers and as a milestone in WNBA history.
Nobody else in the country that's an elite shot for. There are different rules for Caitlin Clark.
Her family's reaction, Megan. Her mom, Ann, said she might even cry. Wow.
The path Caitlin Clark has traveled to the WNBA is really remarkable. She has always shown herself as a top-notch talent from her high school days, where she was already generating headlines. Through her undergraduate time at Iowa, her move into the professional ranks has been flawless. Her court vision and scoring prowess distinguish her from the others.
That's why we were so successful. We really moved the ball, whether they're in man, whether they're in zone, whether it was transition. I thought we executed in every single area, but also, our defense was really good. Only gave up 68 points, and I thought they scored a lot there in the fourth, so proud of the group.
The road Angel Reese has traveled to the WNBA is equally remarkable. Renowned for her aggressiveness and tenacity, she has been a major player at every stage of development. Several honors and exceptional performances distinguished her tenure at LSU. She has taken that same passion to the professional scene.
As round 3 between Indiana and Chicago is underway. Clark trying to shake free Mabry all over. Here is Clark. Clark separating, taking, and hitting. Caitlin Clark with a difficult look.
Among the most intriguing narratives in women's basketball today is the one between Clark and Reese's rivalry. Every game between the Indiana Fever and the Chicago Sky is a must-see, as both teams have players pushing one another to unprecedented standards. Audiences are enthralled by the great energy, talent, and competitive spirit in their bouts on the court.
Well, you know, it's meeting number 2. Let's do, how about a couple of tips to get this thing going? Eric Bruton is our crew chief. Fatu Sissoko Stevens, Jenna Renew are our officials here today.
In this specific game, the tension was evident from the first tip, though Reese's continuous work on the boards kept the Sky in the game. Clark's rapid start with her three-point shooting set the tone. It was evident as the minutes passed that this game would go to the wire.
Clark, the Fever, and the Sky are underway at Gainbridge Fieldhouse as Chicago wins the tip. Rebound knocked away. Boston and Smith were...
For the Fever, Clark's ability to score from wherever on the floor is very helpful. Her strong range pushes opponents to stretch out possibilities for her teammates. She proved her scoring ability throughout the game, striking equally efficient drives to the hoop from outside the arc.
What they're doing every single possession. Boston gets the first touch of the third quarter. Solid move for the last year's WNBA Rookie of the Year. In the starting spot again here in the third quarter, the first time that they've started this.
Reese dominated the paint with her physicality. On the other hand, her rebounding was very vital in providing the Sky with many second choice chances. Reese was there, fighting for position and frequently returning with the ball every time a shot went up. Her scoring around the hoop was particularly critical as she finished through contact with force. This game generated some debate as well. The officials made numerous dubious rulings, including a foul on Clark that many felt ought to have been a flagrant one. These incidents enhanced the drama as both sides had to respond to the refereeing and the violence.
To work, big win for the young Sky. How about SZA recognizing game, saying she can't wait to go see Angel Reese play some basketball. All right, SZA, we want to see you.
On the floor, Clark led clearly all through the game. Confident in her direction, she made wise selections and kept her colleagues interested in the offensive. The Fever's victory owed much to her composure under duress, especially in the last seconds when every possession counted.
Clark notched the first triple-double ever by a WNBA rookie and the first in Fever franchise history. 19 points, 13.
Reese's influence was equally important. She was a constant danger, offensively using her weight and power to her benefit. She tended to flourish in the most intense parts of the game. Hence, her performance under pressure was remarkable.
Double-double streak, extending her record to now 12 straight, Carolyn Peck.
And she has put in the work. And let me tell you, in this game this weekend, not only was she rebounding.
The Fever won as the last buzzer rang, but the game had been a showcase for the extraordinary ability and will of Clark and Reese. Like many others between these two players, this game brought attention to the finest of what women's basketball has to offer.
In a row? I mean, in one season. So when you see a young woman come in like that and do that, I would have to give the nod with her efficiency rating.
This game has effects beyond just the ultimate score. Not just rivals, Clark and Reese also inspire young athletes. Many admirers and future players are motivated by their commitment, diligence, and love of the game. Every time they go on the court, they are increasing the profile of women's sports and modeling behavior. Future competition between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is certain to be intense. Both of the young athletes have many years of basketball ahead of them. The sport has a bright future, with fresh stars breaking limits on what is feasible on the court.
Right? This is our expert here, but according to ESPN Bet, Caitlin Clark is a heavy favorite after putting up that triple-double in a win over the Liberty, -600.
For the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark is a singular and priceless player because of her scoring ability and playmaking ability. Her performances never stop attracting attention and help her to rise in the league. Every game she participates in enhances her developing legacy and solidifies her rank among the WNBA's best players. The Chicago Sky mostly depends on Angel Reese's physicality and rebounding ability. Her team has a great edge as she can control the paint and rule on the boards. Reese's efforts transcend the stats since her vigor and diligence motivate her colleagues and raise their degree of performance. Clash between Clark and Reese was an exhibition of skill, tenacity, and the fierce attitude that characterizes the WNBA, not just a game. Both players left everything on the court, and their efforts gave fans an amazing show. All eyes will be on these two stars and their respective teams as the season runs on. The conflicts between the Fever and the Sky will remain must-watch events as every game presents fresh highlights and unforgettable moments. In women's basketball, Clark and Reese are raising a high benchmark for quality. Their rivalry is a major factor in the development of the game. The value of this game goes beyond the individual performances. It demonstrates the improving level of competitiveness in the WNBA and the increasing interest in women's sports. Ahead, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese have already accomplished so much in their early careers, but their road still needs to be gamers. In conclusion, the game between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese was a stunning demonstration of basketball at its finest level. Both players offered their all, providing a performance that will be remembered for years to come. Their rivalry, distinguished by mutual respect and ferocious competitiveness, continues to attract spectators and enhance the sport. The future of women's basketball is bright, with talent talents like Clark and Reese leading the way and establishing new standards of excellence on the field.